All right, what is going on, everyone? Let's give another round of applause to the W Club for putting this whole thing together while I get set up. Like, what they do for you guys is incredible, so let's give them a round of applause. All right. And as I am getting loaded up here, who wants to give me just a few things that is going to be transferable as an athlete in your life after sports? What are some things that you do now that you think might carry over once you're done? Go ahead, shout it out. Work ethic, nice. What else do we got?
Teamwork.
Teamwork. Okay. Anything else? Are we good at anything else, or is that all we got? Leadership. Nice. 3 things. Is that it? This thing's going to cause me a headache. Okay. What was that?
Failure.
Fail. What do we do with failure?
Learn from it.
That is true. Good deal. So we are going to dive into this even deeper. So, is this on here? Does this work too? Is this on? Nice. So I got to walk around. Test. No? Okay. All right. Okay, good. Okay, there we go. Nice. Sweet. So who is this random guy talking to you guys for 30 minutes? I know it's Friday. I know we all want to get out of here. We all got things to do. But if you guys give me your attention for 30 minutes, I promise if you guys get one thing out of it, I'm good. Hope you guys are good moving forward with that. So a little bit about me. Who is this random guy talking to us? First thing I want you guys to know is that anything that goes on the internet is going to be there forever. Like this lovely GQ photo shoot that the men's basketball team decided to do in 2013. So I'm glad that I get to bring this back. If you guys don't recognize me, I'm this handsome lad right there. And so that lives on. I'm glad to say that it's still very easily found on the internet. Quick few things about me. I graduated in 2015, as you guys know. I was a former basketball player. I have 3 sisters. I am recently engaged to Alyssa in the back. It's also, hey Alyssa! And if you guys didn't know, there's a fun statistic that you have a better chance of finding love at Whitman than on The Bachelor. So we're keeping that going with us. And the last thing is, strangely enough, I'm also kind of becoming a Coop fan. I'm from LA, and now I find myself wearing a little bit of crimson here and there. Okay. Everyone has that sport that they play now today. Who remembers the first time that they played their sport? Anyone? First time. Raise your hand. Come on. No one remembers, no one thinks about this? I'll tell you this, I think about this all the time. How old were you that raised your hand? How old were you when is this memory? 7. How about you? Brave person. Yeah, you.
10.
10? Okay. Anyone else? Anyone younger than 7? Hoopers, come on.
5.
5. Nice.
4.
Same, 4? Okay, 4. There you go. From the age of 4, I was 5. I remember the first time competing athletically. And really, for the next 15 years, I was told that if you take care of athletics, if you take care of grades, everything is going to work its way out. You don't have to worry about it. You can do whatever you want. And honestly, from the moment that I was 5 to the time that I was looking at high schools, to the point that I was looking at colleges, I never really had to worry about what's going to happen next. It was just handed to me. My phone rang. I got letters in the mail. All of a sudden, I was at Whitman in similar shoes that you were in. The only difference is that now, when we start to think about what it is that we're going to do after that, most likely Google isn't going to be calling in you guys asking me to be CEO anytime soon. Unfortunately, see, I thought that was the case. And really, I thought it was going to be super easy. I was like, jobs, who cares about a job? Easy peasy. I was like, it's going to be a piece of cake. After I realized, after my senior season, I'm sitting there on the couch, no one's called me, I haven't gotten any letters. I'm like, what the heck is wrong? This is a broken system, man. So I did what every intelligent college student should do, and I opened up my computer and decided to trust my best friend Google on what I should do next. And so, being the intelligent individual that I was, I decided, you know what, Google, what are the top 10 paying jobs that you can get out of college? And I quickly found that a lot of them were probably out of my realm of experience, had to do something in IT, had to be a nurse, had to go back to school. But there was one thing that I realized I could do, and that was that I could be a financial planner. Right away, right out the gate. And so I was like, great, I'm going to apply all over the place. Indeed, LinkedIn, it's like, where do I find a job? Google, easy. And they wanted something called a resume. And so I did trust my friend Google. So what's a resume? Oh, this is easy. Put some things together, here's what I've done. Started applying to all of these jobs. Got a few interviews, probably applied to 100 places. Statistics were not very good. We were just trying to throw crap at the wall. And didn't get very far. Most people told me that I had no experience and that I had no network, and they said, good luck, you're kind of SOL on this. And what from a really good friend of mine, he said, you know what would really go a long way? Is if you decided to fly down to Phoenix, Arizona is where I was applying. Show up there and basically say, hey, I'm here, I'm willing, put a little bit of a game plan together of what it is that you want to do. I remember sitting down in that interview, paying for the ticket to fly to Phoenix first off. It was a lot of money as a college kid. Showing up there and them, going through the X's and O's of what it is that you do, and I'm like, man, I'm gonna get a side job, I'm gonna work at Starbucks if I have to, I'm gonna be meeting a ton of people, I'm gonna golf every single morning, I'm gonna be meeting a ton of people, just give me a chance, I promise that I'll make it work for you. And I remember leaving that interview and they're like, you know what, you show a lot of spunk, kid, like, we're glad that you came here, we know that you're willing to do it. And I head to the airport, I get a phone call, and they say, hey Matt, it seems like you're a really good person, but you know what, you don't have any network, and you don't have any experience, so we can't give you the job. And so I hopped on that plane completely defeated, having no idea what it was on earth that I was going to do next. And as I sat on that plane, I was like, man, I wonder if my coach could help me out and knows any financial planners. And so after I got off that plane, I asked my coach, tell him what I'm trying to do, tell him that I haven't done anything, and I realized that was exactly where I should have started at the very beginning. I wasted an entire month because within that week, he gave me 3 financial planners. I learned more about financial planning in that week than I did from my trusted friend Google, from all the interviews that I went on, and I realized that this financial planning and career that I thought I had is vastly different than I ever even imagined. And as I started to network and as I started to build that up, all of a sudden those 2 months that I had to find a job and not be that athlete that was going to go and live with their parents and have no idea what on earth they were going to do, I had a job heading to San Diego to be a mortgage loan originator. Fast forward 2 years, and I'm checking all the boxes. I'm doing everything that I was supposed to do. I'm making pretty good money. I'm in San Diego, I'm in a beautiful place. I'm like, my friends are jealous of me, right? This is awesome. And there was something missing. For some reason, I didn't really have that fulfillment that I once had when I was playing sports. There was that gap in my heart that I just couldn't fill up. I remember waking up from, not night terrors, but like those dreams where you forget your shoes and you're like, I missed out on playing my last game. Or you failed an English test and they're pulling you aside and saying, you can't play tonight. And you're like, those are the dreams that are going through your head years after you're done playing. And I was like, I wonder if anyone else feels this way. So I wrote a silly little blog post and posted it on Facebook. And all of a sudden, people that I hadn't talked to in years were reaching back out to me and were like, dude, what you're talking about is exactly what I'm going through right now. Like, dude, people need to hear this. People need to know what's going on. And I started thinking, because at that time, I was like, I'm so alone. Like, there's no other athletes that are really going through this. No one else really experiences the transition like I'm experiencing that transition. And what I realized, and really the final straw, and who watches the NCAA tournament? Mostly everyone, right? They didn't do it this year, but years past, there was a Jerry Rice commercial. Anyone know what I'm talking about? Jerry Rice comes on the TV and he's basically pushing the NCAA and he says, the NCAA, right? 2% of athletes go pro and 98% of athletes go pro in something other than sports. And I'm like, who's better than Jerry Rice to tell us that we're going to do something other than sports? That guy hasn't lifted his finger except for on a football field. And I was like, I'm going to be that resource. I'm going to be that person to go figure out what on earth all these people did. And so I started this podcast called Untold 98%, because these stories is what hasn't been told. And so I Started reaching out to people. Started reaching out to people that have been successful. Started talking to lawyers, doctors, real estate people, entrepreneurs, people that were getting all these really exciting different jobs, and every single one of them had the same exact story as me. Every single one graduated and struggled to figure out what it is that they were going to do next. No matter what they did, no matter where they ended up being. What I realized was that I really wasn't that different from anyone. And for me to think that way was pretty selfish. And so what I decided to do was crack the code. So that's what we're going to talk about for the rest of this time. So what happened next? Everyone thinks that athletes, everyone sees the glory, right? Everyone sees the end. Everyone sees the championships. Everyone sees the rings. No one knows the time and dedication and commitment that it actually takes to be an athlete. All outsiders looking in, trust me, after you're done playing college sports, when you tell people that you were a college athlete, it doesn't mean a thing unless the other person was a college athlete. Which is sad, but very, very true, because they don't understand what it actually took to be in your shoes sitting right here. And so I just want to touch on a few things that there have been some studies done, and this is really what we're all up against as an athlete. 33% of college athletes experience significant symptoms of depression while playing. An even scarier statistic is that only 10% of those people actually reach out and try to get help. 21% of college athletes confirm alcohol abuse. 79% of student athletes report less than 8 hours of sleep during this season, which is damaging the growth of your brain as well as causing a bunch of anxiety and different things in your body. 45% of male team sport athletes report having anxiety or depression. 60% of female athletes report body shaming by coaches, and 7.3% of elite athletes' deaths are by suicide. So, I just want to take a quick moment to tell all of you that I'm very proud of all of you. I don't know who needs to hear this, but what you guys have done to be sitting here in front of me, I'm incredibly proud to be able to talk to all of you. So, what are we about to embark on? I'm really starting to make this decision process, because all of a sudden our life is completely out of the line. We have no idea what it is. Most of us, really what we want to do, we think back to 15 years ago, we made a decision to move forward with the sport that we wanted to play, but other people have been on a journey of becoming a doctor for 15 years. People have already gone through the motions of figuring out what it is that they want to do. And so we need to play a little bit of catch up and start to figure out what it is. Because a little over 60% of college athletes, when they graduate their first job out of college, make less than $40,000 a year. Now you might be thinking, Matt, that's all the D1 football players. What do you mean that many people? And it's a staggering statistic because only 51% of them are actually Division I athletes. And it really goes back to not having a clear understanding of where it is we want to move forward. We all know that it takes a little bit of crazy to be successful in anything, and really getting all of it under control and figuring out where it is that we need to go and move forward to. And so I invite you to be your playful younger self when you start thinking about this. Maybe you want to be a rapper, which is fine when you're 5. Maybe you want to be a coach. Maybe you want to help younger kids pursue their dreams. Maybe you want to be a student. Maybe you want to be a learner, whatever it is. But go back to what brings you joy, what excites you every single day. And really, that's what I had to come back to. I had to go back to, what do I want out of a career? What's going to make me excited? Do I want to sit at a desk all day? Do I want to talk to people? Do I want to be engaged? Do I want to be able to control my income? Do I want to be able to travel? Do I want to be able to work remote? All these things are important when you start figuring out what it is that you want to do. It doesn't have to be that I want to be a doctor, but all of a sudden the door starts opening up and you start learning things that you didn't even realize was a profession or a job that you can even have. And so homeostasis. Anyone know what homeostasis is? Anyone? No, like chem majors or anything like that in here? We're all like econ. That's okay. So homeostasis is, the easiest way to think about it is like when you start to get hot, you sweat to like pull yourself down. So your body is constantly trying to put yourself back into balance. And that's exactly what we need to do. We need to put everything that's going on back into balance. We have to figure out where is that flow state that we can reach back into. So how do we do that? And what I think I realized was that once I was very, very clear on what it was that I wanted, I could get what I wanted. Once I was clear, if you don't have clarity on what it is, you're going to have a very hard time figuring out where it is that you want to go. But once you have that clarity, it's going to be very easy. So if I wanted these things, I could start to go reverse engineering and say, okay, so what do these employers want? What do they want out of me as a candidate? So here's what I thought they wanted. I thought they wanted to see like a pretty resume. I thought they wanted me to be like conversational and have a really good interview process. I thought that, they wanted to see that I graduated from a good school, and hopefully they gave me a little bit of credit because I played college sports. Believe it or not, I couldn't have been more wrong. In fact, what they actually wanted was something very, very different. And it's something that is nearly unteachable is what they claim it to be, but that's because whoever did this wasn't athletes and they don't have growth mindsets, but that's okay. What do they want? And so what I realized was that if they truly were trying to get out what they wanted, they would put it on job boards, right? They would put it out there to the public and say, hey, we want this in our candidate. This is what we want. But only 20% of jobs are on any job boards you can find online, which means that 80% of the jobs that are out there aren't even available for you to Google search. So how do we get in front of those? How do we find out about these positions that are available? And what is it that they want to see in these candidates? How do you get a job from this? So here are the top 7 skills that employers want out of you. The first one is communication. Does anyone communicate on your team? Probably, right? A few of you maybe. Hopefully, if you guys are good. But second piece is teamwork. Anyone playing a team here? So you probably know teamwork a little bit better than normal people, maybe. Time management. Who has a harder work schedule than athletes? Who figures out how to write a paper and gets to the field at 5 a.m.? Get to work out. Leadership. Leadership's funny because in sports you're kind of like pushed into leadership, like you're really a choice. Like you have to be a leader. Everyone else, whoever has leadership, just like decided that they wanted to be one. You all forced to have that trait. So that's 4. 5, critical thinking. Anyone have like time running out and pressure and they had to think fast? Maybe once or twice. Initiative. Who works out outside of normal gym time? Anyone? Anyone get extra work in? Cool. Emotional intelligence. Anyone know when their teammates are down? Anyone know how to try and pick them up? Anyone know when practice is going really bad? Coaches? How do we turn that around? So, we all have these top 7 skills that people want. And I also cited it because I went to Whitman and they asked me to answer the 7. So, your resume. Your resume, right? So your resume is meant to kick the door open. That's what everyone told me. This is your first chance to make a great example of what it is that you're capable of, what you do. Could have been more wrong. And I want to break it down just for you guys to see, like, backtrack a little bit. I helped out a lot of people with their resumes. It's something that I was going for a little bit. And this is what I saw 99% of the time. We have education, we were an athlete, and we jot down a bunch of work history that we've done. Anyone see something really cool that this guy did on here? Probably not, because it's a really bad resume. But I'll point it out for you. He was a national champion in 2017. You think employers care about that? Probably a little bit, that he did something like that when he was in school. And really telling to why he was able to do that. Because what no one cares about is that what it is that you did. Assisted with intricate data entry. Anyone know what that means? Does that have any of the 7 skills that we talked about? No. So here's another example in different ways to kind of reframe your resume. because as an athlete, we didn't have a chance to do a lot of internships. We didn't get a chance to have a lot of the experience that other people have had, so why are we playing the same game as everyone else? That doesn't make any sense. If a team is better than you, you probably come up with a game plan on how to beat them. You don't just keep playing the same exact way that they play. So, what you do is we focus on the skills and strengths that we create. From the different opportunities that we've had, from the different chances that we've been able to job shadow, from the different experiences and things that we've had that no one else can relate to. And the more that, numbers never lie. I love that. The more that you can include data into what it is that you're able to accomplish, the stronger it is your resume looks. And so we just touched on resume traditionally opens the door for you. I'm telling you that's false. Your resume is once the door is open to have talking points on people that don't actually know you, don't have a relationship with you. It's talking points, right? So this person had, some management experience. So what is it that you did? Tell me a little bit about that. Necessarily where you worked doesn't matter as long as I know that you have that type of capability. So now that I've hopefully messed with you guys a little bit, so how do we open the door then if we don't use a resume? And really prevent this from happening to us when we open the door. So the traditional path is broken. And I say that with a grain of salt because it's broken for us. Unless your dad is the exec of LinkedIn or your mom runs Google or something. We aren't going to be able to just apply with a resume and hopefully, fingers crossed, get a position that we want. So I'm going to show you guys a few things that I've done, that I've implemented, that I've tested, and have helped hundreds of other students like yourselves get opportunities and jobs of their dreams. The first thing is LinkedIn. Who has a LinkedIn profile? Cool. Everyone should raise their hand. When you apply for a job, over 90% of employers are going to look at your LinkedIn before they ever give you a chance to interview you. So you need to have a professional profile. So if you have a picture of yourself in high school, if you have a picture of yourself from athletics, let's try to take that down because we can basically take professional photos with iPhone at this point. The other thing is having professional headers, and really, I don't want to spend too much time on this and overemphasize it. The Student Engagement Center is an easy resource for you guys, and there's plenty of stuff online that will help you with that. Really what I want to spend my time on is something called a domain search for you. This is a way for you to find people in your area that have you're basically searching for keywords. So what I did is that I decided that what are the top 25 companies that I could ever dream of working for? I was like, what about Amazon, Facebook, LinkedIn, Google, down the list. And all I did was type in Google, you type in capital A-N-D and former athlete. And everyone that you're connected with that knows someone who's a former athlete and attended Google is going to be a second connection. Everyone who pops up who works at Google and has former athlete anywhere in their bio is going to pop up as a third connection. And you can send an invite to all of these people saying, hey, I'm Joey, I play baseball for Whitman. I'm really interested in how you got your position at Google. I'm actually thinking about applying, but before I do, I would love to learn more about the company and how you got there. Pretty easy, right? What I did was that I found my 25 top companies. I reached out to 10 different former athletes at every single one. And from that, I was able to get 10 interviews from my top 25 companies. And what I started to realize is that every single time I reached out to one of these former athletes, regardless of what they played, regardless of where they're from, their upbringing, anything like that, the moment that you hop on a phone with one of these former athletes, something clicks. They know exactly what you've been through, what you're going through, and they want to help you. They will bend over backwards to give you whatever information it is that you want to know about it. And for us to not be using this resource is ridiculous. So that's a real life application. So really, this is an incredible starting point because For me, I used to think like, I don't really know that many people in business. I don't really know that many people that have done what I want to do. But this is all of a sudden digital at your fingertips to reach out to as many people as you want. If you just reach out to 5 people every single week, and you have a conversation with one of them every single week, you're going to have 50 new people that you're connected with. And if you're really good, you'll ask all of them for him or she to introduce you to 5 of their close friends as well. All of a sudden, your network is compounding. The next thing that I wish I tapped into better was just my existing network that I had. And there's a little exercise that Northwestern Mutual has you do. I was going through the intern process and got close to the very end, and thank goodness I didn't take that job because I would be a direct competitor with my fiance, and that probably wouldn't go very well for me. But what they had you do was basically make this web of everyone that you know. Family, friends, circles that you ran in. And I was thinking like, man, there's like uncles and cousins and people that I haven't reached out to for a really long time that I could have. There's old coaches, there's old AAU coaches that I could have reached out to that would have think about how many people that they've coached. You don't think he knows 1 or 2 financial planners that could help me? Or people that are in that realm and be like, hey, here's some intros to people that you should talk to. And so this exercise that they had to do was to basically sell life insurance to your friends and family. But it's really beneficial for you to start creating a place to start networking. So family, friends, circles. The next piece is Whitman, man. I wish I tapped into Whitman more. There are so many resources here available to you. First off, coaches here. I mean, we may not love them all at the time that we're playing for them, especially at like 5 a.m. when we're running or something like that. But when it comes to your futures, like they care so much about you. You guys asking them for something like this they're excited that they are thought of in this regard. They are going to help you out, whatever it is that you guys need. The second piece is the W Club, man. They do so much for us, and I now that I'm out, I realize how much their involvement, but they're just like in the shadows all the time. But a lot of them are around here, and when they're here, we need to be tapping into those resources. Student Engagement Center. I mean, like we're talking about LinkedIn check-in, resume check-in, all that stuff, like they're gonna clean all that stuff up for you, make it looking nice and shiny and pretty for you. The last piece is wall. I mean, you guys are, not very many athletes get to have a community like wall at their fingertips. Whatever it is that you want to do for a day, if you want to be a banker, you want to be a real estate agent, you want to go be a loan originator, you want to go, whatever it is that you want to do, there's a company here that you can walk through the door and say, hey, I play basketball at Whitman. If you guys would like to come, do you mind if I could job shadow you for a week, a few days, this Thursday, Friday? Is that all right for a few hours? All of a sudden, you can put that on your resume, and you're going to start learning and experiencing things very, very quickly. And you're going to realize, hey, maybe this is for me, maybe it's not. But you're going to be able to make those decisions much faster by doing those few things. And so when moving forward, game plan, roadmap. My mind doesn't work well if I don't really know where I'm going, and I think that was one of my biggest problems when I was talking about figuring out my 98% podcast. I didn't really have a direction. I didn't really know what was going to come next. I didn't know if this was like the 50-year plan, and all of a sudden you're retired, and that's that. So the first thing that you need to do is get into alignment. You need to at least vaguely know what it is that you want out of your next position, out of your next job. That's going to allow you to start moving forward in the right direction, give you guys a little bit of clarity around what it is that you want to do. The next piece is, we touched on some things at the beginning: leadership, teamwork, we embrace failure. Those are all minuscule when it compares to your network. Your network is your superpower. There are going to be so many people that pick up their phone to talk to you because you were a college athlete. More than any other person on the planet, there isn't another experience that you can have that's going to tie people together more than being a college athlete. And just remember, while you're out there doing all this, you're not alone. At all. By any means. You're sitting here today as a college athlete because you spent hours dedicated to your craft. To get to a point where you are now considered in the top 3.5% of athletes that exist on this planet. On this planet. How many years did it take to get to the point that you're at now? 10? 15? When you're done with school? Think about if you could tap into something else after sports. Just like that. A lot of people in their lifetime are never going to do what you've already done, what you've already accomplished. Some people are going to look back and say, man, 65 sitting on the couch drinking beer, and be like, man, college were the best years of my life. That was the best time. But that doesn't have to be the case for all of you. It's time to find that next path, dedicate those next 10 to 15 years, and get back right to where you were at that elite level, 2.5%, 3.5%. So that's what I've got for you all. I'm not sure if I'm supposed to open this up for questions or what happens next, or if I'm supposed to welcome someone back up. So I'll just gracefully say thank you. It's been a pleasure.
Hi there. First, I want to really thank Matt for being here for his insight and his inspiration. Can we do one more round of applause? Before we break into the official networking portion of the night, there are some introductions I need to make. First, I'm Jennifer Northam. I saw most of you at the opening picnic, and I just want to remind you that between the contacts with our alumni that my office has and the skills and opportunities that the Student Engagement Center has for you, we can help you whenever you're ready for career exploration. Speaking of the SEC, Kay, would you give a hand in the back? This is Kay Castillo. She is class of 22 and a senior environmental humanities major and a member of the lacrosse team. And she is a student career advisor. She's one of 5 who have open office hours at various points around campus. Her open office hours are 7 to 8 here in the Reed Campus Center on Sundays. Talk about a LinkedIn profile. She can help you set that up. And the SEC does LinkedIn headshots on a regular basis. She can help you with a cover letter or look at an application, review a resume, talk about possible summer internships, tell you all about the other SEC resources, and provide peer guidance on your future career opportunities. I'd also like to introduce Jim Dow. Jim, you want to give a raise of a hand in the back. Jim is class of 71, was a multi-sports athlete when he was here, including when Whitman had a football team. You can ask him about that. He's a former member of the W Club Board, a longtime member, but perhaps is the best connected alum that Whitman College has ever seen. So don't pass up a chance to talk with him. I can pretty much guarantee that he will know someone who is interested in what you're interested in and will make that introduction. The rest of our board members are here. I have to tell you that a few have not quite made it. Sunny Goldberg is not here. She's a tech person. But we will share all of the networking information and the contact with all of our W Club board members next week, and we'll have a recording of this event available for anyone who wasn't here, but if there was something you wanted to go back and check on with Matt, that opportunity will be there for you too. I will be by the windows up here if you want to come chat with me. I have long experience with nonprofit organizations as well as, alumni relations. Let's see, Chrissy, if you want to give a wave. Chrissy is a soccer alum, and she is marketing and PR and communications, and she'll be back there to chat with you. Steve Dodds is here, former baseball player. He is big in business. Lynn McKelvey, tennis player, and Johnny Keys, golf and swimming, are both involved in finance and investing and can talk to you about banking and all sorts of stuff. So please go see them. And Christy Lindquist is here. She's tennis, class of 92, and and president of the W Club board, and she is a former teacher, a principal, and works mostly on big curriculum stuff for the public schools right now. So, if you've got questions, you can check in with Kay from the SEC. She has some tips on how to get the most out of a networking situation in a handy-dandy card. And talk to the coaches. I would recommend that if you are interested in maybe athletics some point in your career, talk to a coach that's not your coach and get a different perspective. Oh, and Mike Washington too, longtime soccer coach, and one of Christy's top fans. That's all I have for you. Oh, please get going, talk to, go forth, connect.